this particular class has a part 1 and a part 2, and if any of you were in part 1, we covered things. Perhaps the most important aspects we covered was know who your end user is going to be. Okay, and it's also, even you and I, Henrietta, were speaking a moment ago, even if you're just adding value to something from your skills onto it, you need to know who you are talking to. Okay, you need to know who you're aiming at. Is it, certain types of old people, or certain types of young people, or certain types of businesses? Okay, we covered that, and we spoke about that in part 1, and I'm going to be redoing part 1 next week. So if any of you missed it, you're welcome to join there. And then the other part of part 1, I'm just doing a quick summary.
And then the other part of part 1, I'm just doing a quick summary.
Okay. And then the other aspect we covered is, what value were you offering? Okay. And you need to be clear about that. So whether you're just sharing information, like I'm talking to Henrietta now, or whether you're into a business, your product or your service has value, and what is that unique value? And we spoke about that in part 1. And then we took those two things and we created a one sentence that sort of summarizes it, okay, brings it down to an absolute focus. And we discussed that and how to do that in part 1. And then we started talking about the actual sales pitch, then that, now that one has that, and and how to start a sales pitch. Okay, so part 2 now, even if you weren't in part 1, this is going to make sense to you, hopefully. Okay, but I'm going to build on part 1, but I'm going to re-emphasize certain things as we move through part 2. Okay, so that's what we covered in part 1. Okay, it's what I've just told you now. So we're going to now build on. So I want to get the framework of a sales pitch into place, and what you need to create that. So if you have time to properly expand and work on a conversation, and touch on points of interest, okay, then here's a framework that you can use for building your, let's call it elevator pitch, because I see that's the common use, the common word that's been spoken about. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, and what I'm going to do for the first time is, at the end of this class, I'm going to send you my slides. Okay, so you need to have a pen and paper, but not so much for the slides, but for things that are discussed in the class and explained. So I hope that's going to be handy for those that are serious about starting a business. Start with a statement or question about the problem that you solved. Okay, and you'll know that from part 1. Okay, your service or your product, okay, is aimed at a particular person, and they're going to buy it from you because they need it, they want it, it solves a problem of theirs. Okay, so you can present the problem using perhaps a personal antidote, a question, or an eye-opening statistic, perhaps. Okay, and the answer, whatever answer they give you, you then have a why. Okay, you have a why, and that why is very important. Okay, so we're talking now what's on the slide, the framework, okay? So you need to know what the problem is you are solving with your particular product. So then a value statement, share a very clear, concise statement of value. Be action-orientated and outcome-focused. Don't use jargon but share benefits. Okay, a value statement. Value statement for the end learner. There must be value in it for the person who is listening to you or reading you or is potentially going to buy your product. So then part of the framework also is to put together, how we do it. Okay, so highlight unique differentiators, okay, and explain what you do. Okay, so again, we're going to go into much more detail in the class, but I'm just giving you the framework. Okay, so proof of points. Provide clear evidence or clear reference examples and list recognizable achievements. Share industry validation and any awards that your product has won or the industry has won or that category is known for. So, and then of course, customer stories as part of your framework, okay? Share customer examples and successes. Tell emotional and personalized customer stories. Make it real and tangible. And then your framework must also consist of engaging questions. Close the pitch with an open-ended question, creating a space to have a conversation. Okay. So many companies use success stories in their pitches to ensure the sale. So name dropping really works. So be sure to use that to your advantage as well. And if your product is small or light enough to keep in your pocket, you should always have one on hand to show your prospect. I always stress the need for a concise sales pitch. So keep it free of professional jargon. Don't get into the weeds and the muck of it all, okay? And be sure to talk more about your prospect and their problems than yourself and your product, okay? So nothing's more off-putting than a bragging salesman talking about themselves, their company, or their services. That's what I call the me monster. Okay, the actor in your story is the customer, not you, period. Okay, all right, let me just stop there and see, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask about the framework or thoughts? And anybody like to share with me now, because there have been some newcomers that have arrived, what your business idea is? Perhaps this is a good time to share that with me as well. And then
so
I can...
my name is Eva. I'm going to tell a quick little story. Can I?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm a biologist working in a lab, and I was taking samples from mice, little blood samples, testing their protein, their gene expressions, testing every 3 days. I had to go there and get more blood. While I was there, I said, aha, why can't I use the same concept to help kids learn? So
okay.
I devised and developed a automated system that gives kids a worksheet, and then when they submit the worksheet, I see what they know. And this process goes on and on, automated, without bothering the teacher. So I give the assignment, my system gives an assignment, and then I correct it, and then I give them the score and I chart it. So as your 30 students go topic to topic, they have a beautiful graph of what they accomplished. But
Okay,
not
but
only
what's their
that,
objective? Eva, I shouldn't interrupt you there. What is the benefit to the child?
well, we see exactly when a kid is deficient, which kid and at what time, real-time data.
Okay, okay. So it's a benefit indirectly to the kid, but directly to the parents,
And to the teachers.
teacher.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Henrietta, you wanted to say something?
No, you were saying
You
that
wanted to say something?
you were saying that what is the benefits? I was saying that the benefit will be for at least other children, I know, and it's for the public. We gain from that knowledge to other people might develop more on it too.
Okay, okay, thanks. Okay, yeah. Eva? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a
And
question, Mike.
if you can develop
Okay.
that kid, they will be a better person. They'll get a better job. They'll be better in their community.
Right, right. Okay, thanks, Eva. Jennifer, you had a question?
Mike,
Yes?
yeah, as an educator, my question is, how old a child are you talking about? Which subjects are you looking at?
So I'm looking at,
Scholastic and several other,
so we
Scholastic
do
and
common,
several other larger companies have those.
oh,
Common
thank you.
Core?
Yes, we do Common Core. It's 5th grade. And you're right, they do worksheets, but one thing that I would like to talk to you a little about it too, because one of the things that we do is when we correct the homework or the worksheets, we see how they did and I give them a different worksheet. So the same 30 kids, each of them could have something different according to their level of understanding. Maybe one kid missed a couple topics, the other kid is very sharp, got tutoring. And so the worksheets follow the ability of the kid. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah, okay.
One
All
other
right.
question is, and I know you need to move on, Mike.
Sure.
Have you done research into other companies that are already doing this so that you can compare and contrast what you're doing and you're providing something that the other companies are not?
You're absolutely correct. And so I'm doing my best, but I haven't found a lot of companies that do this algorithm where they will give you the worksheets, but they won't kind of specialize what your level of understanding. But I would be happy to talk with you a little bit more because I need more people in education to pitch this to and just to get some feedback. Thank you.
So, if you,
5th
Thanks,
grade
Michael.
math. Thank
okay.
you.
Okay, okay. Thanks very much. I think that was very valuable interaction there. I think we all learned a little bit more. Okay. So, distribution matters. Okay. Lastly, presentation and distribution are everything. Okay. So you need to deliver your sales pitch to the right person at the right time with the right tools on hand, like a demo or a free trial or a presentation. Okay. So the sales starts with your list of contacts. So you define your list and personas as you did in part 1 that we covered, if you remember. So know their correct contact information. Get an introduction or respond to their inquiry and make sure you contact them at a time of day when they're likely to respond. Okay. Very important. Okay. Any one of those, particularly, the person and the time can be an issue. And you can lose the person you're talking to if they just, are perhaps not ready at that moment. Okay. And so very important as we build up a framework and build on what we've always really done. But let's just talk about sales pitch ideas, okay? You're going to get this set of slides, so you don't have to take this down, but there are various ways to pitch your business idea, and find one that works for you, okay, or maybe two that works for you, and then that's how you can move forward. So there they are on the screen, and let's just take some of them in a little bit more detail and just chat about them so you understand what they mean. So the whole purpose of finding a way that works for you, then you work on that and you improve that aspect, okay, rather than just be, well, today it's going to be this approach, tomorrow it's going to be that approach, okay. So select an approach that suits your personality, your style, who you are. So let's just very briefly look at these. So tell a story. Let's start at the top, okay? So keep your listeners engaged by telling a brief story. The story could either be about the company or how a customer found success through your product or service, okay? So you would have to personalize that. Sorry, somebody wants...
Does my mouse story put you off? I mean, there might be people that don't like mice.
No, I mean, that's your background. That's what you do, okay. But I'm not sure that...
That's a great story.
I'm not sure if it relates directly to the product that you're doing, Eva.
Thank you.
Look at that and rather, focus again, remember on maybe a story about a child or about, somebody and I think that would be more relative and will relate, I think, yeah. So, but certainly a story, okay, is definitely an option, and it's very effective too. They're all effective for the right personality who's telling it. So, and then include a value proposition. We spoke about, and we took this apart in part one. What value will you provide for this person or their company? While your pitch should be short and sweet, the value proposition is the core of your sales pitch. Okay, you are offering value, you are offering a solution. Okay, so part of your presentation should definitely be part and parcel of that. Okay, and absolutely you could start with it as well. Okay, so who are you talking to? Okay, make sure your sales pitch is relevant to them and really piques their interest. Okay, you'll be able to customize it so it addresses the items that are most important to the person you're speaking with. Okay. So personalize the sales pitch. Important, okay. It's so easy to go off at a tangent and find yourself. And I'm the world's worst of going off at a tangent. You know that from my classes, okay. But you mustn't do that when you're in a sales pitch, okay. Yeah, they're different types of. So
personalize the pitch means to the audience, right?
Well, yeah, if you're doing an audience, yes, then to whoever your audience is, personalize it to that audience, okay? And if it's an individual, personalize to that individual, okay? Why is the audience listening to you? Why have they come together to listen to you, okay? So you know something about them. Okay. Okay. One word sales pitch. Okay. Arguably the most important type of sales pitch is often the hardest to perfect. Okay. Yeah, the one word pitch. Okay. You know, a single powerful word that best describes your brand. Okay. This one word pitch should be used by everyone. Okay. And anyone who's working for you as well, wherever possible. Okay. So the one word pitch isn't just a sales fad used in out of the box marketing strategies. In fact, this type of sales pitch is used by huge businesses like Google. Okay. Their one word pitch is search. Okay. And an influential people like Barack Obama, remember him? Okay. His one word pitch was hope. Back in 2008, I think it was. Okay. So, you know, here are some, let me give you some other examples of mini slogans that you may recognize. Okay. Like, just do it. Or think different. Or got milk? Or I'm loving it. Imagination at work. Okay. So slogans like these are great tools for pitching to customers because they are catchy and easy to remember. Although they often have more than one word, they are referred to as the one word sales pitch because they are short, focused, and memorable pitches. So if you're going to switch up your pitch, okay, then use phrases like that. Okay, remember in class 1 or part 1, we did that one sentence power punch, the hook, if you like. Okay, so you know, remember that and remember to use that here. Okay. And there are some ideas. This is all about really the previous slide of stepping up your pitch. Okay. And the question sales pitch is another type of business pitch. And it's sort of interrogative. Okay. So these types of pitches usually made to customers. Yeah, Jennifer, your hand up. All right. Jennifer, you can go. I can't hear you. Your mic must be off. Okay.
Sorry. With my product, intentional grandparenting, would that work?
Sorry, I don't know what your product is, Jennifer. You just came in now with your audio. Okay, start again.
Oh, I'm sorry. The product is a journal for legacy diary, legacy writing.
Okay. Oh yes. Yeah. 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 So then your question is?
The intentional grandparenting, does that go together with the product?
I think that could be a good label for what you're doing. It sounds catchy.
Okay, is that what you're referring to?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Eva. Okay.
I don't know if the words are supposed to be more emotional, like Barack Obama.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm not sure if my internet's going or whether it's somewhere else. Mary, can you hear me clearly? Because I'm not hearing everybody else. Mary, are you there? Or can't you hear me?
If there's a way, Jennifer, you can make it a little bit uplifting. emotional lifting.
Okay.
Hey,
This
Yeah.
is Ruby, Michael.
okay,
I
Mike,
can hear you
I'm sorry,
very clearly.
I
To
just
answer your question.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, that's fine, because
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like Mary can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine. As long as you can hear me, because I'm having difficulty hearing some of your conversations.
Sorry.
But I just want to, it could be my internet. I'm not sure. Okay. I hope that.
Michael, I was just commenting on some of your phrases seem to be emotionally based. Hope. What else did you say? Just do it. It was kind
Yeah.
of like emotionally based, like charged with energy. And I don't know how I would do it.
Okay, those are just examples. There are existing companies that use those, okay? So it's just really, the idea is, depending on what your product is to find something. What I'm saying is to find something that really relates, and then it helps you build out. Even the one word, if you don't even use it purposefully, it will help build out that sentence that you need to have, okay? And then maybe 1 or 2 minutes of talk if you've got that emotive word in your back of your mind, okay? And it's good. It's a good practice for you to search for that word and to move forward. Like, I should have come to the next thing, the sales question pitch. These are always good, is to, they're made to customers and are characterized by a few questions during the first part of your pitch, okay? So this hook works by getting the customers to anticipate the solution before you even describe it, if that makes sense. So the questions can be abstract or concrete, okay? And, let me give you some examples of sentences. Obviously, they won't fit all the products that are on that you brought to the class now, but here are some examples of, what are the 3 most significant challenges your business is facing now? Brilliant question, okay? Brilliant question, okay? If that's significant, if that's relevant. So, or why do you think the industry is going to require and your product in the future, or what your product stands for in the future, okay? So what do you think your industry is going to require in the future? Okay. Or how is that process taking place right now? And how does it need to change? So questions, okay? Not necessarily the examples that I gave you, but question is really, it draws in, there's an interaction, and you can answer, okay, what they respond with. So it's a great way, if you're doing particularly one-on-one presentations to a person, yeah. Then, as strange as it may sound, okay, the rhyming sales pitch, okay. Dr. Seuss was onto something, rhymes boost what linguists and cognitive scientists call process fluency. Okay? So the ease with which our minds slice, dice, and make sense of stimuli. So as this has a surprising effect, studies have found that rhyming statements are perceived to be more accurate than non-rhyming for some reason or other. That's the study. Even when both options convey the exact same message. So before you dismiss rhyming as child's play, take into consideration that a simple couplet could make the difference between a done deal and a competitive deal. Then moving to the next one. Sorry.
can I just, can I go back to one thing? When you
Sure.
asked the question, the second item, question the sales pitch, did you mean that I should, as a presenter, ask the question and then answer it?
No, not necessary. Okay. The idea is to ask the question and then to wait for response. Okay.
From the audience, what does your industry look like in the future, or whatever you said? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
or
you.
whatever question you make up. Okay, that's relevant to your audience. Okay.
I love the rhyming idea. That sounds really fun. I guess I'm not that clever, but it would be nice.
Yeah, and it's also subtle. You know, it's not blatant. But okay. But yeah. Anyway, so the next one is the subject line sales pitch. You know, imagine a strong email subject line. You know, you probably know this. They follow 3 principles. Okay, utility, curiosity, and being specific. Okay. However, you shouldn't try and add elements of each into a single email header or sales pitch. Okay, so your email subject line should be either obviously useful or mysteriously intriguing, but probably not both. Okay. But it's also noteworthy that the more information buyers are contending with, the less effective curiosity-provoking subject lines become. So the actionable takeaway, craft 2 separate sales pitches, one useful, one intriguing, and layer them onto each other. Okay. A possibility. Deploy the first if the prospect is obviously pressed for time or is buried in information from rival vendors or internal stakeholders. So use the second if they are just beginning their buying journey and can move in a more leisurely pace. Okay, then the Twitter sales pitch. Okay, you know, tweeting is an exercise in clarity and brevity. Okay, what would your sales pitch sound like if you only had 140 characters to work with, for example? Okay, although they've upped that now. So formulating a Twitter pitch forces you to think critically and creatively about the main highlights of your offering. It can also help you trim the unnecessary fat from your sales pitch. So keep in mind that while it's easy for you to remember all the features of your offering, you do sell it after all. Okay, a laundry list of functions is bound to overwhelm and confuse prospects. And then the XR sales pitch. Former story artist Emma Coates, released this narrative template that can be applied to all the Pixar films. Okay, if you ever saw any of them, things like once upon a time, da 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 da, or every day, da da da, or one day, da da da, because of that, da da da, and so until finally, da da da. Okay, by phrasing your sales pitches in this way, it automatically becomes a story. Okay, which top salesmen know stick in people's heads much better than a dry recitation of a whole lot of facts. Avoid that like the plague. Okay, avoid it. Okay, depending on the potential customer and situation, change up the type of pitch that you use. Okay, before we move away from this slide, are there any questions or comments? Okay. I can't say that more than than 1,000 times. Okay. That's why I put it as a separate slide. Practice your pitch. Okay. Practice, practice, practice. You've got to be comfortable with it. And remember, it's fitting with you have decided to, let's say, take a question approach. And you've decided to do some of the things that I've mentioned. And you know the benefits of your product. You know what your one-liner is. You know what your emotive words are. And so now you've put it all together, and you really, it needs to come naturally from you. Okay. And so just practice. Don't practice on possible customers that you might lose. Okay. You know, find somebody else to practice wherever you want to, on your own. Practicing on a Zoom video. Okay. Record yourself telling your presentation however you want to, with your you know, 6-month-old grandchild. You know, sorry.
PowerPoint allows you to record.
Yes, it does. You're quite right. It does. Okay. I just have a habit of when I record on Zoom, but yes, it does. Okay, thanks for that. So really, don't feel stupid about it. Okay, don't feel like, you know, I don't need to practice. I'm okay. But you know, by practicing, you'll get a feeling. You know, as you're practicing, you know, do you feel comfortable? Okay, presenting it. Okay. And then, you know, the first time that you present it, you ask yourself that question afterwards. You know, did I feel comfortable in presenting it the way that I presented it? Okay. And so, you know, it's practice is will get that feeling right, which will tell you what you've got to do and how you. And then try not to use metaphors. Odds are your sales pitch isn't happening in an English classroom. Okay, so maybe with Eva it might be, but the idea of incorporating vivid, clever comparisons might seem effective in theory, but there's a good chance you might confuse your prospect. Remember, you want. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, all right.
No, so I was what I missed in the beginning was the fact that I had to go back every week, every 3 days, collecting samples. And that's why I said, and I didn't explain this part, and that's why your storytelling is so important. You have to, you know, if you don't complete the story, then you left your audience kind of like, why did you bring that up? What was the relevance there?
Okay.
Right. So the issue was that I had to go back and get samples. I had to every 3 days, while this mouse was eating one type of meal and the other was eating another type of meal. I kept collecting and analyzing how they're doing. But the key here is when I thought about doing this for the kids either know it or they don't. They get it wrong or they don't. It's not like a gene expression where you can have different levels of expression, right? A little protein or a lot of protein. It's not like on or off. So I thought, you know, it might be easy to do this with the kids. And so I didn't finish the story. And so it was very confusing, and I apologize. But it just shows you, if you use a story, make sure it's a good story.
Right. Absolutely. But you're so right. Stories are just, you know, the best. Quite honestly, they really are. And it also allows you to change your tone of voice to become emotive, and when you're serious about something. Okay. I see Jennifer's giving you a tick there. Okay. So yeah, so, you know, when it comes to metaphor, just keep things simple and clear. You know, there's and that's what you want in a story. And also, it's important to create a wow moment in your presentation. Okay. I couldn't think of another word other than a wow. Okay. I use that word so often that, you know, but I think it probably does communicate what I need. So one way to ensure your pitch is memorable is by blowing the listener or recipient's mind with wow. Okay. So you might do this by stating a fact that is counterintuitive, or demonstrating the product or service's best selling point in a shocking way. Okay. You know, telling an outlandish story or emphasizing its most unique features. Okay. I can't share anything more about a wow moment. It's something that you've got to create, and think about it, and say, that's my wow moment. Okay.
So can I use a graph as a wow moment and say, how can a teacher take 30 students, monitor 30 students' progress and then show a graph where I'm actually doing this for 30 students times 28 different topics. And then I could just show a screen or a graph that has so much data points that it would be confusing to do if the teacher had to do it without smart data. Is that a wow?
Okay, I've got two thoughts as you were talking. The first thought was, if you pitch into teachers, okay, and then the benefit of this is to teachers, okay, not to their students, okay. So how's the teacher going to benefit? And so you'd have to approach that in that way. Then you could use an example as I see it, as right now, as a wow moment for the teacher, where she says, you know, you get that light bulb moment, where the teacher suddenly thinks, yeah, this could help me. Okay. Then yes. Okay. But if you're pitching to the student, okay, maybe through the teacher, okay, then you've got to do a wow moment that really relates to the student. I'm not sure, Jennifer, how do you respond to that? Jennifer, you there? Okay, no, she's not there. Okay, but does that make any sense to you, Eva?
So your wow should be dependent on
I'm
your
sorry,
audience.
Michael, I had stepped,
Okay, sorry. All right, let's just go
I
back.
had stepped away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had stepped away for a second. I'm sorry. I could hear you, but I wasn't close enough to respond. I think that Ava has a good start, but I think she needs to understand the pedagogy of education and presentation of coursework. And she's got a lot of research to do, because one of the statements that she made, it was in comparing the children to the mouse thing, which is Skinner, basically, is that children do have nuances of learning, and they do have some different levels of learning the same concept. You have the beginning level, the not knowing level, you have immersion level. So, I think that Ava has a good idea, but I think she needs to do a lot of research before she's going to be able to. I mean, that's just my opinion as an educator.
Yeah.
As a former educator.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shoot down the idea. I'm just saying that you have to have an understanding of who you, as Michael is saying, and you have to have an understanding of who your audience is. And your audience is not the children, it's the teachers. And
That's right.
if you approach the teachers, with what you're with the information that you have thus far, you're not going to get very far. So, you have a good idea. It's just, as we all, start out with the good idea, and then we start researching it, and then we put in the time of doing a mock marketing to see how it flies.
Exactly. And at this time, there's so many kids that are haven't been to school and missed a lot of topics. So we have to see what levels they're at.
Right, and teachers are doing that. And there are products that are already out there. That's the reason I suggested to you that that you research what your competition is, because yes, the children lost a lot, but they gained a lot of skills too that aren't being advertised through the media. And I apologize to the rest of the participants for talking for so long.
No, it's beneficial.
Because it's off, for me, it's off topic.
Yeah. No, it's not. No, it's beneficial. So I also, just listening to both of you, I come back to the important part of what problem are you actually solving? If your teacher is your customer, okay, what problem are you solving for the teacher? Okay, not what you're doing for the children. Okay, what problem, if the teachers, what are you solving for them? Okay, that they haven't already solved. Why do they need you? You've got to ask that question. Why do they need you? Okay, and so once you've answered that, then you've got,
because that's what the administration.
Sorry, say again.
Yeah, that's what the administration is going to ask, and before they put their tax dollar money onto purchasing a product, they're going to ask those kind of questions, and the teachers are going to ask, why should I do this? Why should I use this?
Yeah.
So, if you have any teacher friends, sit down with them and collaborate. Even if they're not in elementary level, the pedagogy of teaching is different from what most lay people think about what teaching is. It's more than just putting a worksheet in front of the kids and to catch them up.
Yeah, yeah. I really concur with that. My wife has been teaching for 45 years. Okay, and so
I could interview her.
Well, okay. I'm sure she will answer some of your questions. Have a discussion with you as well, Eva.
Thank you.
Okay, but let's move on. Remember, when you sell it to anybody, okay, you've got to appeal to the emotions. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's a teacher or something. You've now got your act together. You know what the benefits are, and you know what their problem is. Okay, then phrase it and present it in a way needs to invoke emotion in the person who's listening. So understanding your customer is central to consistently nailing the sales pitches. Okay, and when you do, it's good to convey that. Okay, so one way to do so is to revolve your pitch around maybe their life experience. Okay, find commonalities between you and them. Okay, but think about the emotion. Okay, and remember also to back things up with facts. Okay, so while consumers make decisions more often with emotion, okay, they still need to rationalize the decision themselves or to other key stakeholders. So you'll catch them emotionally, but they can't communicate that emotion to somebody else if they have to. Okay, so you need to give them the facts so that they can then go back to the facts, even though the facts didn't catch them to start off with. Okay, so providing statistics or case studies that support the emotional appeal, you're providing credibility that will help them feel as though they're making the right decision. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So you can also, another way is to tap into their fear of missing out. Okay, the famous word FOMO, fear of missing out, is powerful motivator and can create a great sense of urgency as well. I mean, how people use this all the time. So the last thing you want is from them is to be dazzled by your sales pitch, but procrastinate long enough for that feeling to fade away. Instead, get them to take action right away. Okay. And you've seen that. It's been done to you, all of you, many times. There's no doubt about it. Okay. So, yeah. So another aspect of it is to educate them. Okay. So you want to establish yourself as an authority in your space. Okay. Now, for example, Eva, you might have difficulty in that because you're not a teacher, and if you're talking to teachers, okay. So you need to think about that. And teachers are not easy people to teach. Okay, they're really not. I speak from experience with my wife. Believe me. So you need to think. Some interesting, relevant facts will help and grab them, but then also don't pretend to be an educator. You come from, let's say, a scientist's point of view, okay, or something like that. Okay, so something that adds. Give them facts that add a degree of legitimacy and trustworthiness in your pitch. Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at the time, but I'd like to give you just some examples quickly to end the class. Okay, let's take. You all know this pharmaceutical company. Okay. If you look at their website pitch by medical company Merck, if you go to their website, you'll see a little spiel there. It says, for 130 years, Merck has been inventing for life, okay, bringing forward medicines and vaccines of many of the world's challenging diseases in pursuit of our mission to save and improve lives. Okay, now that's their pitch. Okay. You say, why? Okay. Merck knows that values and strong scientific foundations drive business decisions in the healthcare. So, they're going to sell, I suppose, to doctors and other pharmaceutical chemists and so on. So, but they have a one-liner. Okay, and as we aspire to be premier research-intensive biopharmaceutical company in the world, we aspire to be the premier research-intensive biopharmaceutical company. That's it. Okay, that's their one sentence. Okay, and these are things that we spoke about in part one of the class. Is that one sentencer? Okay, and then there's investor relations. You can look at, if you like, I can put these, if you want them, examples, I can put the links on the takeaway email. But the GAP companies, they've got a one-liner. It's, we're committed to serving the needs of our customers while delivering long-term value to our shareholders, because it's an investment company as well. Okay. And then, yeah. And so, G2, their one-liner sentence is, G2 is the world's largest tech marketplace where business can discover, review, and manage the technology they need to reach their potential. Well, it's all in, that's what they do. It's in one sentence, okay? It's powerful, and you need to be looking at part of that. Find your one sentence, okay? Even a professional speaker, if that's going to be your business, Fan Jones, as you may well know, is a professional. He has a one-liner, okay? It says, Van's honest and poignant social commentary has made him one of the most compelling and powerful public voices in America. His reach transcends age, race, geography, and political ideology. So it's in the third person, okay? That's one way as well. Okay, so you need to find all these are essential in you trying to put together your pitch. Okay, and Edward Jones. Okay, they call it. You can see on this is their webpage. Edward Jones Advantage. Okay, that's that sort of, if you're going to look for financial advice, and you come to look at their website. that immediately tells you something. But the impacting paragraph, if you like, is investing isn't just about creating wealth. It's about what money can help you do. Build a brighter future for yourself and your loved ones. Our single focus is helping you achieve what's most important to you. And that's in the financial. Okay. So, are there any questions? Maybe that's a good place to stop. I just wanted to share some examples with you.
Do they put these on their on
Websites.
the first page?
Yeah.
On the first page of their website?
Normally on the first page of their websites, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because people go there, Google takes them there, and that stands out. So they're going to read something, and it's got to catch their attention. Okay, it's got to hook them. Okay, so that's why the hook is so important in your pitch. Okay.
Michael, I gotta step away for a few minutes, but I wanted to thank you in case when I step back, you're not here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Now we are finishing off now. Okay, but thank you very much, Ruby. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right then. Let's. In fact, if there are no more questions, then I'm happy to stay on. If Eva, if you wanted to.
Sure, I would like to ask you a few questions. Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe you and I stay in class. Everybody else is welcome to leave and join the next classes. I see my wife has started her class now. So yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
fine.
for your
Pleasure. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Okay. Okay, Eva. Mary, sorry, it's for you.
Thank
Mary,
you, Michael.
It's a pleasure, Jennifer. Okay, thanks very much. And Mary, you're welcome to leave if you want to as well. And just make me the host, that's all. And oh, I am the host already. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if you've got another class to attend, Mary, you're welcome.
Okay, Michael.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Okay. Okay. So Eva.
Thank you. So
Pleasure.
so I have done a few pitches on the product, and what you're saying about the story was so good. And I realized that for some reason, I think I am a little bit too technical, and I'm not bringing out the emotional story that I could and what you were saying really made me think about how do you capture them, how do I bring them with me to this journey? I guess I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
So it's really a difficult process to me.
Yeah. 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 I'm clearer now than I was the last time that you joined and spoke about it, because clearly I think you've made a decision now, or you had already made a decision that your customer is the teacher. Okay.
Yes.
Whereas before I was thinking that your customer was the student. Okay.
Well, that was a very hard target for me when they asked me that question when I was doing the business plan, because the student benefits, but who's paying for it? And so you target the teacher, and you target, maybe if she's homeschooled, then you target the parent. But really, the focus would be who's paying. It would be the school, right? The school would pay for it, not the teacher. So what is a benefit for the teacher, but what's a benefit for the school? So I have to include these when I was listening to you. I didn't say, for example, do you want, how can we create this, ask the questions, test scores, how we're going to bring the kids back up to level now, right? These are kind of the questions that make them think that I was a teacher, incidentally. I was teaching 13, I was in the classroom teaching 13-year-olds math. It was a short term because that's not really my profession, but still, So I guess I should mention that these are different things that I should mention within the scope of the, right? So I want the audience to feel like I feel for them. I'm with them. I'm making their job easier. And I've designed this with the intent of not, because I remember how tired I was, literally. There's a joke that says you feel like a truck ran you over because you're always on, right? You're always on for the full 5 hours. So I felt like that, and so that's why I created this, so the teacher has less to do and she can concentrate on doing more of the things that she loves to do instead of all this other grading, correcting, you know. But the key here was the way you can scale up. Now I can do this for one class and second class, you know, you have different ways to measure that. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on.
No,
but I wish I could. I think, Michael, I would like to give you a presentation, and then you can just critique what, you know, what, maybe not today, but when you have a chance.
Yeah,
just
with pleasure, absolutely with pleasure. But just coming back to what you're saying, yeah, you taught for a while. You see, I would want to maybe link that short bit of teaching, or just, you know, like mention it so that they know that you're a teacher. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay? And forget about the laboratory and the mouse. Okay.
Thank you.
And just, you know, maybe just a phrase, you know, like, you know, when I was teaching maths, and okay.
Absolutely.
You know, now you're on the same wavelength. Okay. You don't have to say you taught for a short period or whatever it was. Okay. But when I taught at this, you know, I really discovered this. Okay. And then carry on with the question, have you ever discovered this? Okay. And so now you're back to the question part of the presentation, or the pitch. So and you know now that the teacher is not going to be the decision maker. Okay, it's the school, and that's very difficult with public schools and so on, because as Jennifer said, there are lots of other products out there, and you know, you really got to distinguish yourself dramatically different. Okay, if you want the school to buy. Okay, and yes, I know maybe you just aim at homeschoolers. That would probably be a lot easier.
Right, but actually, I'm aiming higher because I see a benefit, and maybe this is a question for your wife. I see a benefit if you can feed this class, 5th grade math class, and this fifth grade math class, and the other 5th grade, and the other 5th grade math across the tracks. So all of us are getting the same equalization, uniform education. That to me is important, because I'm sorry to say it, because teachers get tired, and their topics are sometimes not as strong in one area as another. Now, I wouldn't say that out loud to a teacher, but the kids pick up certain topics stronger than other topics. And so they're not bad in math. They just don't know certain topics well, right? Within the math class.
Right.
And I want to make sure we identify them and move them up quickly with this real-time evaluations.
Right.
So
right.
I say the benefit really is 1 to many, not 1 to 30, right? You're really benefiting by having a uniform, consistent curriculum that the kids will do, and they will master their way to higher education, right? So
right. Now, if once they've gone through this or various exercises based on the result of the previous exercise, okay, how are they going to remedy their deficiency?
Right. So I So I'm just talking about, I'm sorry, just a moment. So I'm not telling the teacher how to teach. I do think she's very important and in the classroom. I'm just taking away some of the tasks, the mundane tasks that is too difficult or too time consuming. I'm giving the teacher back time, right?
Okay.
To approach this in a creative way so that they can learn, so they can do what they do, teach.
And so
I try to
they'll
take
get
away
the knowledge. They'll get the knowledge of each of the students'
the beautiful
inadequacies.
graph. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so now they can now deal with that information however they want to deal with that information. They'll offer the
Exactly.
solution. So that you're just giving them the information. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
and-
That's clear.
And teachers are having trouble with hybrid classes. They're doing 2 different classes. One class is at home, one class is in class. And so I'm giving all the data in one place. I'm
Yeah.
organizing the data in one place. I'm making her no grading. I'm making it like really much more easier so that she can look. And I always say that with my graphing, you can see what the class is thinking that day,
Yeah.
and you can optimize your lectures for that day. I mean, if you can, if my data is real time, I know what they answered last night, right? When they turned in their homework or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
I can address, and then I pull out these 5 students that are still not getting it, or these 8 students that are always above the bar and they're so intelligent. Now, what the ideal about parents, they believe that their kids are being slowed down because there's literally disabled cognitive disabilities in the classroom. And there was a passed a law that we need to teach them all similarly. Well, how is a teacher supposed to give everybody what they need? And so this is why I developed this, is because I think there's a bigger need so that you could make sure everybody's getting what they need. And that is so, that's why I like the question you said, what does your profession look like in the future? How is that going to change for you in the future? And I think people are going to get, they're fed up with the school district. They're fed up. They're around the country. You see superintendents leaving their positions. It's getting very difficult for teachers and teachers are leaving the profession. It's really difficult.
It is. I see that happening in Australia too. Teachers are leaving en masse. Okay. So, but I'm pleased that I'm clearer now, and I really do think you've got a fantastic product. Okay.
Thank you.
So now it's about how the potential customer perceives you. Okay, it's easy to put the facts about your product. Okay, you've done that very eloquently with me right now. Okay, but they, teachers and principals are really, they come from a different planet. Okay, so they're going to look at you at the beginning or even before you arrive. Who is she? Okay. So there needs to be, you need to establish in your presentation, I think, some powerful lines that give you the credibility. Okay, like I mentioned earlier.
This rhyming is real fun for me. And the storytelling, I just love it, but I'm not that creative. So
yes,
so
you are.
I really have to think about this. How am I going to create a story and then bring it through? Once upon a time, and then bring it through to the end of the, and say, and finally, what we want for the kids is a better, optimal, customizable solution that fits their learning ability. So I don't know how to tell the story. So I'm going to really think about it when I get your slides, how I could
Okay.
modify this, and then try to. I would like to give you the. I don't know what you want me to. What would be better? Should I modify this according to your slides, or should I give it to you the way I had done it before?
I don't mind. You know, you must make that decision. Okay.
Okay.
You've got a feeling, and go with that feeling, because everything we're talking about now is communicating through feeling. You know, your learners are going to, you know, feel that, wow, this is. So just go with your gut.
How do I create that wow factor for you, and how do I make you feel that this is going to make a big wow for us? So that's going to be my homework after I get your slides. I'm going to really look at that and how to do that.
Okay.
But
that's good.
I don't know how I could, I think I can contact teachers through GetSetUp to see if I can send you a text or send you an email. Is that right?
Yeah, you can send it directly to me at michaelgetsetup at gmail.com. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All one word, michaelgetsetup at gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
okay.
what is your time frame, just out of curiosity? When do you think? I would actually like your wife there.
Yes, I really do. I was going to suggest that anyway. You know,
she may have, you know, especially because of fresh eyes, right? You and I talked about this already, so you kind of know where I'm going. But for her, it might be very interesting to hear her first time approach. Definitely. So I would like to do it during the weekend, if she has time this coming weekend.
Yeah, the weekend works for us. No, we are available. We don't do classes on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So that's fine. What's your time zone? Where are you living?
San Francisco, California. Okay. And so right now it's 5 p.m. So maybe we can do a 5. I don't know. Is that a good time?
Yeah, and other weekend, 5 p.m. would be
when did
5
you
or
start?
6 p.m. Maybe 6 p.m. would be better. Yeah.
My 6 p.m. or your 6 p.m.?
They're yours. You said it's 5 p.m. now.
I'm sorry. I messed up. When you started the class, it was 5 p.m.
Oh, okay. So, that's fine. That was in 9 o'clock. Yeah. Well, still maybe 6 or 7 p.m. your time. Okay.
Okay.
On Saturday, maybe.
Yeah, let's shoot for that. That's a little. I get a little tired because I wake up early, but I'll give you a good demo anyway. And I think we could. I want to do it like in 30 minutes, really, just to, you know. And then your comments afterwards are more valuable to me. I would like to spend more time with your comments and hers, your wife's. But I think I'm going to try to limit this to about 20 minutes to 30 minutes with slides.
Too long. It's too long for you. It's too long for a pitch. It's much too long for a pitch. Okay. Wow. You know, you've got to really, you've got to look at maybe 10 minutes. Wow. Okay. And you've got to wrap it up. After that, if you were pitching, let's say, to a principal or teachers and so on, it could then questions and answers and interaction and so on. But your pitch needs to be less than 10 minutes. Okay.
That's going to be really challenging. Okay.
If you want to delay a week, that's fine. We can delay a week, but okay.